Hi, I am here with Coach Shelley Gupta of goodculturecoach.com. Welcome, Coach Shelley. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Well, I love to start these interviews with one question, which is, what are you celebrating right now?
I'm celebrating signing up some new clients and having some discovery sessions coming up. Really excited to keep things moving in my coaching journey.
Great. Well, tell us a little bit about who you coach, who you love to serve.
I really love to serve people who feel like they have to be a certain way or do a certain thing because society tells them to, or their family or culture, and they want to do something different for themselves. They see something different, they want something different. And I empower them to do that while still being respectful of their culture, society, heritage, family, whatever it is, wherever it is, they feel pressure from.
Got it. And what do you love about coaching those people?
There are people who really value their family, their friends, their society, and they see the importance and how their culture and society contributes to them. And they're not looking to be disrespectful of it, but they're trying to find their own path, their unique path through that, so that they can be their most authentic self. Because ultimately, I find that these people are just like, I see this and I've done the things that society has told me to do, that my culture, that my family, whatever it is, has told me to do, but it's just not cutting it. And I know there's something else out there for me. So I love helping them find what that is and to go do it and be it.
Great. Um, you've had a full interesting career, right? You're a lawyer. You've been in the professional world for a while. What was it that had you decide to go through this rigorous training and become a professional certified coach?
Yeah, so I have been, as you mentioned, an attorney for a little over 10 years now, and I was a prosecutor for 6.5 years, and now I do public health law, specifically health code enforcement. And through my career, what I've always done is I have been pushing people to better themselves, better them lives, but it's not a willing bettering of themselves and doing better for themselves. And a couple of years ago, I was feeling really burned out and I was just messing everything up at work. And I was like, this isn't it. I went and visited my best friend and we were talking about different options and things that I could look into and pursue. And we came to the conclusion that I should check out coaching. So my journey really began in 2021, in September 2021. And I started researching all the programs out there and I came across ACE and the website just really spoke to me and I signed up um, for an interest call and I spoke with Kalika Yap, who is amazing. And it was just she was just so calm and like there wasn't any follow-up, there wasn't any pushing. It was just, this is what we are, this is what we do. And if you think it's right for you, you should sign up. And I was like, oh, that's it. Okay, cool. And I talked to a few other programs and I like kept getting emails. I still get emails from these other programs and I just clicked delete on them. But ACE was not pushy in any way, shape, or form. And so I was just like, well, let's do this. And I liked that it was like a gradual introduction step into it. You had what was called MLE back then. Um, I don't even remember what that stands for anymore. But it was MLE and then ELE, which I know the names have changed and the program shifted a little bit since then. Um, and that's how I got started on the coaching journey. I wanted to help people who wanted to be helped.
Yep, beautiful. I appreciate what it takes to answer the calling, to do something new, to take that leap. Um, so let's talk about a little bit about that first course in your experience. So it was MLE, it used to be called Mastering Life's Energies.
That's
Now
right.
it's just the Academy Foundational Training, but it's the first course where you get to, before you're even trained to be a coach, you get to experience your own breakthroughs being coached in this model for your own transformation. So What was that course like for you? You know, what surprised you? What breakthroughs did you have?
I thought that the course was really informational and just allowed for a lot of self-reflection. Um, I loved doing the standards of integrity. It's invaluable, and I actually made a background on my phone that I can pull up when I'm just like, I need to feel a little bit more grounded, and I will pull up my standards of integrity and read them to myself. And I actually incorporate that into my class that I teach at Butler University. And then um, your basic assumption, because I mean, I fought like I worked hard to get to my basic assumption, and I fought it, and I was like everything but that one. And eventually I was like, no, no, you can't avoid it. It's that one. So yeah.
Yeah, for folks who might be watching this who don't know what a basic assumption is, um, without necessarily telling them what your basic assumption is, what is a basic assumption, and why is it worth discovering?
Basic assumption is I mean, the way it was explained in the course was your response to the first time you hear no. And essentially everything that you do or that you don't do goes back to what your basic assumption is. And if you know what your basic assumption is and you can look at it and see it, you can turn around and question it and be like, but is that really true? And then move
Uh,
beyond it.
what else has shifted in your life? So you've been in the program for a while, you've gone through all of the courses at this point. What have you noticed personally has shifted in your life out of going through this training program?
I offer a lot less advice to people. Like, truly, I do not offer them advice anymore unless they specifically ask for it. Um, I'm more inclined to ask them questions just to understand where the other person's coming from. I mean, one of the biggest things in this program is the green lens, or seeing people as whole and complete, as heroes of their own journey, having their own answers, being worthy of dignity and respect, and um, knowing what's best for them. And that's it's been different just seeing everyone through that green lens all the time to the best of my ability, and to not tell them what to do, just be like, what is it that you want? What's best for you in this moment?
I love it. Yeah, I can tell by the way you talk about it how much ease that's brought to your life.
Mhm. Yeah, it's really great. And other people have commented on it too. They're like, you're not judgmental, you're not telling me what to do. You just ask me questions and I figure it out myself. And I'm like, you have your own answers.
Perfect. Um, tell me, you've worked with some clients now. You said you just enrolled some new ones, which is great. So what's some breakthrough that a client has had that has been really rewarding for you as a coach?
Seeing my clients see that they have their own wisdom and that they don't need someone telling them what to do, that they are the masters of their own life, and that they truly have it in them to do whatever it is that they want to do. Um, and really seeing for themselves what's right for them. You know, I've had a client who was always very wishy-washy and like, but should I do this? Should I not do this? Should I do this? Should I not? But after going through some coaching, this client was really able to see what it was that they wanted, and that that was the right decision for them. And wasn't wishy-washy about it thereafter. It wasn't circular after going through coaching, because this client tended to like talk in circles and go round and round. But after going through coaching, that was like, no, this is my decision and I'm confident in it.
Great. What has surprised you over the last year or two going through this program and starting to build your coaching practice?
Well, I'm in the Midwest and things tend to catch on much later in the Midwest than they do on either coast. So there's still like a lot of questions about what coaching is. I talk about it fairly regularly and frequently, and I've written and published an article, and I mention it to all of the lawyers that I interact with at programming when we have like small group sessions. And they're like, oh, that's really interesting. And I send them my website, and then it's just like, oh, I really need that in my life. But a lot of times people just aren't willing to like take the next step and go after what it is they really want or figure that out. Like there's, I don't know, fear or hesitation or um, I don't know what it is. Whatever is getting in their way, they're not ready, which is fine. Everybody will do what they need to do in their own time. But there's just not a lot of information out there about what coaching is and what it can do for you and how it can make a difference.
Yeah, I love that you're saying that, because it's, it's such a relatively new industry and a lot of people are just learning about it. What would you say to those people who are maybe watching this video and just curious, what even is coaching? What's the benefit of it? What's it all about? What would you say to those folks?
Yeah, so we have coaches for like everything, right? You've got your sports coaches, you've got your personal trainers, and you've got all these people to help you better whatever it is you want to better yourself in. Why wouldn't you want to have a life coach, someone who's in your corner, who's cheering you on, who's helping you look at your life and look at your stopping points and overcoming them so that you can achieve whatever vision it is you have for yourself with ease and with grace and with fluidity in a way that doesn't feel like it's too much or overwhelming. Like you can keep moving through whatever life throws at you, and get to where it is you want to be.
And what would you say when people ask, well, how does the coach support that? What does the coach even do?
Yeah, so as a coach, I have a variety of tools in my tool belt to help you look at what it is that you really want and what you need and where your stopping points are. A lot of times when we're talking, we can't hear what we're saying. And so a lot of what I do is repeat back to you the words that I'm hearing. Sometimes there's a little bit of paraphrasing, but I'm telling you what it is that I'm hearing from you. And when you hear the words said back to you, it hits different. It sounds different when in reality they're your own words. Um, we have mirrors that we can look at, but we don't have something that gives us our sound back. So that's a lot of what coaching is letting you hear yourself, letting you see yourself, and seeing you for who you really are and everything that you have to offer.
Dan, what has worked for you? Because part of the skill set for being a coach is supporting people in the way you're describing, but you also have to go out and get clients. So what have you found has worked as you're building your coaching practice?
So that's something I'm still working on. And I think that will always be a work in progress for me. But really putting myself out there, talking to people, telling people that I am a coach. I've left my card in various places, and I have a QR code on my card. So if there's only one card left, people can still get to it. They can use that QR code, pull it up on their phone, and save it for later if they need to. But I've got it in coffee shops around the country, really everywhere I go, I've got that. When I go to conferences, I don't give out like my work business card because what is anyone going to do with that? I don't interact with the public in general. But I hand out my coaching card actually. And so a lot of people have been like, oh, interesting. And so I've gotten quite a bit of traffic on my website from that. And
Right?
yeah, so just, really putting it out there. And when people are curious about it, talking about it, but not ad nauseum.
Mm-hmm. Where have you? I know you said at the beginning that you recently enrolled some new clients and you recently um, got some new discovery sessions, which is a
Mhm.
conversation with someone interested in working with you.
Mhm.
Where have you found those recent potential and real clients?
Yeah, so the most recent client was actually word of mouth. And it's someone that I have worked with in the past, not closely, but someone she knows me and knows that I'm doing this. And um, this person was telling their friend, I just feel like I'm stuck. I know that there's more out there for me. I just don't know what it is. I don't know how to figure that out. And so the person who is in my immediate circle was like, well, Shelley's coaching now. Maybe you should look into that. And so she did. And she signed up for a discovery session and we chatted and she was ready. So I'm very excited to see what she does and what she comes up with and where she goes. And the other person, I actually don't know. I don't recognize their name. The discovery call is on Wednesday. If I had to guess, it would be through the article that I published, or through one of my cards that I left in a coffee shop somewhere.
Great. Yeah, I appreciate that for the first year or two as you're spreading the word and just letting everybody know what you do. Over time, that word of mouth starts to increase. So I'm glad to see that's starting to happen for you more and more.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the article that you wrote and published, and we can
Mhm.
put a link to it. But say a little bit more about what's the article and what are some of the main ideas you'd love people to get.
So the article is about self-advocacy, and it's written in the context of attorneys. And especially since the pandemic and going back to in-person work, um, there has been, well, let me back up. There have been a lot of people who have been like, you're really good at advocating for yourself. Um, and I said that took a lot of work and time for me to get to this point where I am willing and able to advocate for myself in a clear manner. And so I wrote an article about that, and it is written in the context of attorneys, especially as someone at the beginning or beginning of the middle of your career. It can be really hard to advocate for yourself when you're at the bottom of that totem pole. You're just getting your feet wet. You're just trying to figure out what it means to be an attorney and what it means to say no, even, or to ask for what you need. That can be really hard and intimidating, especially when you're talking to people who have like 30 plus years of experience. Um, so the article really touches on, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And in the context of litigation, we don't get uncomfortable because we know what we're doing. We know what we want our outcome to be. We know the steps we have to take to get that outcome. Um, and in self-advocacy, it's kind of the same thing. But the reason why I think people find it so difficult to advocate for themselves is because they don't know what it is they really want, right? Like when we're litigating, we know the end goal. When we're advocating for ourselves, if we don't truly believe what it is that we want, or we don't know what we want even, it's really hard to advocate for anything and to advocate for it clearly and passionately and in a way that makes sense to the listener. So the article talks about getting really clear about what it is you really want. And like, sure, you can talk to a friend, but our friends typically have agendas for us, or they think that we should go in a certain direction. Same thing with family. So it's really good to talk to potentially a therapist, but really a coach who is forward looking and is looking at the here and now and then what's next. And just getting really clear. You want to talk to someone who doesn't have an agenda for you, who doesn't know what's best for you, but knows that you know what's best for you. And then to practice being in those situations that are uncomfortable. So one of my suggestions in the article is when you're out with colleagues and they ask you, what do you do? What do you like about it? Do you like what you do? That's always a question that comes up. Do you like what you do? Even if you don't like what you do, find something that you've done that you're really proud of at work and talk about that. And just be confident in your answer and talk about the accomplishments that you have. If you can get comfortable talking about your accomplishments, then you can start advocating for yourself at work and saying, look at how I've contributed to this organization. And this is how it's contributed to me. I think it would be beneficial for both of us if I got XYZ.
I love it. I can't wait to read it. And we'll definitely share the link with this video.
Absolutely.
What is, I know we only have a couple minutes left. if somebody's watching this who's considering becoming a coach and they're just exploring what it's all about, um, what would you say to them? What advice would you give to them if they're just kind of starting to consider that this might be a path for them?
Why do you want to coach? I'd ask them that. Um, why do you want to coach? What do you want to get out of coaching? What's your why behind it, right? And also is get some coaching, go through coaching and see what it's like, see how it impacts you. Before ACE, I had never been coached. And that wasn't the end all. It wasn't the worst thing in the world that I hadn't been coached. It was fine. Because ACE does a phenomenal job of like providing coaching along the way and demonstrating it and showing it. But I like at least get a few coaching sessions, either while you're doing the program or before you start the program so that you know what it's really about and see the benefit that it offers. I think once a person goes through coaching and they see the benefit of it, like it's so transformational. And I say it to people all the time. I think coaching is more beneficial than therapy, which is, I know, very dicey to say because therapy has its place and coaching and therapy work very well together since therapy looks at the past and coaching looks at the future. They work very, very well together. But I feel like I get more out of coaching and I really love that. So look at your why. Like, why do you want to get into coaching? What's interesting about it to you? For me, it was helping people who wanted to be helped since I help people anyway, but I help them kicking and screaming in the real world, in my life, in my job.
Love it. Great advice. And yeah, I think experiencing getting coached is so important to really know what it's all about. We can talk about it as much as we can, but getting to really just experience it is so powerful.
Mm-hmm. It really is. I mean, the breakthroughs that you have with coaching and like really seeing what's stopping you from doing the thing that you really want to do. Like, something's good for you. You just can't bring yourself to do it. Well, what's getting in the way? Let's deconstruct that and get it out of the way so that you can do what you actually want to do.
Yeah, perfect. I wanted to ask you before we wrap up, we've been doing this diversity scholarship program for almost 2 years now. We're about to raise some more funds. We've given away lots of scholarships. What would you say is important about having a program like that at the Academy? And what might you say to people who might be interested in supporting it?
Diversity is everything. The world is a diverse place. It doesn't matter where you go, or even who you're talking to. Everybody's story and background is different. And the more coaches we have with different backgrounds, the better it is. Even though as a coach, I know that it doesn't matter that your background is different from mine. Like it really, it does not matter. But for clients, I think it does matter to clients, people who are unfamiliar with coaching. They want to know that someone shares their experience or their background or some sort of history. Like I've felt that myself. Like, how can someone else understand my experience when they don't have that shared experience? And in coaching, that it's not true that you have to have that shared background, but I think it's helpful for clients. And I think we all bring different perspectives and different skills and strengths to the table based on our diversity, whether it's socioeconomic, cultural, ethnic, whatever it is, regional. It makes a difference. And it helps to have that wide perspective and that broad range because we learn so much from each other. And we can't learn that unless we have that diversity of thought.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, any final words before we wrap up?
If you're just seeing this for the first time, you're not familiar with coaching, definitely explore it and find someone to do at least a discovery session with, if nothing else. Having a life coach is incredible because you've got someone in your corner who's going to support you no matter what, because they know that the decision that you are making is the right decision for you. And they really help you see what you need to see and to overcome what you need to overcome so that you can get to where you want to be with clarity, focus, ease, and grace.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time, Shelley. Goodculturecoach.com. If you want to talk with Shelley, if you want to potentially see if you want to hire her, please check it out. Thank you so much for sharing all of your wise thoughts. And I'll see you around the campus.
Sounds good. Thanks, Greg.
All right. Bye, Shelley.
Bye.